And welcome everybody to this week's exciting episode.
Hey Holmes, I want some extra jalapenos on my burritos with extra mosquitoes. Aye!
Ándale, hiba.
And that is a Mexican impression of a Mexican.
Followed by Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah.
I bet you don't remember Speedy Gonzales, do you?
I do. Looney Tunes, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Looney Tunes?
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah.
I don't know, actually. Because Looney Tunes was like Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny and stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What was Speedy Gonzales?
Speedy Gonzales.
He was a little mouse with a sombrero.
Yeah, sort of, yeah, like a little gopher type thing.
Yeah, I will say this though. When I went to Mexico, very hard-working people.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Really?
I got a lot of time and respect for the Mexican culture. Love it.
Well, yeah, and they had a lot of respect for you as well, because they all thought you were with the cartel, didn't they?
Yeah. I can neither confirm nor deny I was searched several times in and out of Mexico. And also, the natives kept coming up to me and speaking Spanish and things, thinking that I was a local.
You get that a lot, though, don't you?
Yeah, I get that from a lot of countries. They just think I'm from that area.
It's the dark hair and the tattoos and stuff, isn't it?
Brown skin, yeah. That's what they think. But no, I love Mexico. Very nice place. Would recommend it to anyone. Just be careful at night time in certain cities because you will be met with police and SWAT teams everywhere, like I saw when I was over there.
Fair enough. Well, how long has it been since you were in Mexico?
Oh, a few years, 5, 6 years, something like that.
6 years,
Yeah, and when we went, it was a very, very nice place. But that was the only thing was they were like, I don't really leave the hotel without a chaperone. We got drunk and did leave the hotel without a chaperone, and we went to all the nightclubs and everything. And I kind of felt safe because there were a lot of like SWAT team, police, and like
armed police,
armed
everywhere,
trucks,
like,
armed cars, yeah. But funny side story. I don't know if I have mentioned this on the pod already, but as a joke, I said to one of my friends, I wonder how easy it is to get drugs in Mexico because of like cartel and everything.
I bet it's pretty easy for someone who looks like they're part of the cartel.
Well, it was about a minute into the first nightclub.
Oh, right.
I literally was bursting for a wee, went up the stairs, opened the bathroom door, and there was a man stood there in a trench coat. And as soon as I walked in, he just opened his coat and went, "Hey, you want some stuff?" And I was like,
"Oh,
no.
Is it like the films where they just got a rack of..."
Genuinely, he had like bags of different like drugs and things.
Just
and,
all hanging off the inside of his coat.
Yeah, and I was like, "Nah, I'm okay." Had a wee, washed my hands, and he was still looking at me. And I thought, maybe, but I don't know if I should because I'm on holiday. I already got searched at the airport before, so I left it in the end, so I didn't bother.
Oh.
But yeah, it was very, very easy to get.
I was interested to know what the Mexican weed was like then for a minute, but didn't partake.
Not worth the risk, I don't think. Because the thing is, even if I didn't have any on me, the residue, if you will, of even handling it
will show up.
Would have been in my bag or on my person, clothes, whatever, and it would have. I don't want to get cavity searched.
No.
Not when I'm with other families, it's just not worth it.
That's fair.
I already look like I should be in prison for drug-related offences in Mexico.
Yeah, you do in Mexico, definitely.
Yeah, so I left.
It's a good job you haven't got 13 tattooed on you anyway.
Yeah. But no, Mexico, beautiful place. Absolutely loved it. Very, very nice. And another quick story. I know.
Go on then.
I know.
It's all about holiday stories this week.
I know I said I wasn't going to rag on the Americans.
Oh,
right?
No, here you go.
But it has to be said. I find this story quite funny. Okay, so we're sat by the pool in a Mexican resort. You've got a group to the left of me and a group to the right. And it's quite a large group of men and women, all maybe late 20s, early 30s, and they're just living it up, smoking cigars by the pool. And the people that I were with, we're all British, so we're a little bit more quiet and reserved. And, you know, you'd be lucky to get us to get into the pool, let alone, you know, do a cannonball or
no,
smoke
I don't
cigars.
want to wash off my sun cream.
Yeah. So we're all sat there, and again, one of my mates was like, "Oh, they're all American, aren't they?" Like, and I was like, "Oh, how can you tell?" And he was like, "Because they're so loud and obnoxious." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess so." But I said to him, "The group to the right, they're not American." He was like, "What do you mean? How can you tell?" And I said, "They're Canadian." And he was like, "Well, they sound the same. How do you know?" And I said, they sound similar. Don't come at me, Canadians. To me, you don't sound similar. But I said, they might sound similar to you, but I said, it's how they behave. I was like, and this isn't a knock on America. It's just Europeans, we all share the same kind of view. And I can be obnoxious from time to time with my music being loud and stuff, as you know.
Yeah.
But it was just very interesting that the Americans were going for it. They're like doing cartwheels and cannonballs into the pool. They're smoking cigars. They're playing beer pong on the side of the pool. And the Canadians, one of them had a book, and the other ones
Did one of them come over and apologise for the Americans?
Funnily enough, when I was walking back to the hotel to get some food or some more sunscreen or whatever, one of the people in the Canadian group was like walking just behind me, and then they kind of caught up, and they were like, "Oh, I just wanted to say, like, we're not with that other group, by the way. They're Americans." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I knew you weren't." And then I explained to him
that you eating some poutine and
like,
maple syrup.
I worked the difference, and he was like, "Oh," he was quite impressed. He was like, "Oh, okay, you can tell the difference between Americans and Canadians." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got family in America. I've got family in Canada. They behave completely differently."
Yeah.
So it just made me
like
laugh.
you said, they sound similar, but it's not quite the same, is it? The Canadian accents, the few words that sort of stick out, and you can tell, and they'll go "eh" at the end, don't they? The sentence.
I think with Americans, and like I am also guilty of this. I think there's a certain level of confidence that comes across as like obnoxious and cocky to a lot of people.
Arrogance.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that isn't the case. I think to them, just like, or us, I should say, because I am a part of that group, like sometimes when you're having fun and you're just like excited, and you tend to just be a little bit louder or a little bit more flamboyant or whatever it might be, and kind of drawing attention to yourself. And I think they're just having fun. I don't think they're not doing it on purpose to annoy people.
Just a bit more carefree, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But, you know, I mean, it makes sense. You got the bald eagle, you Patreons, and, you know... Patriots, and Patreons. And freedom and all of that. It kind of goes with the whole
They are
thing.
not the only free country in the world.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Say that.
That's their slogan, though, isn't it? Like, land of the free, the American dream, and... You know, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and they are just more carefree and just whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot my gun and drink some whiskey, and you're like, cool, all right, you do you, man.
Right, anyway, let's get off the subject of your holiday and actually pick a subject for today's podcast, shall we?
Well, it goes into the intro that I did, because we're going to travel to Mexico.
El Mexico.
Mexico and other Latin American countries.
Central American, yeah.
And just on the border of America. We're just going to go into Texas a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean, just on the border of Mexico. And if you haven't guessed it already...
Crossing the Rio Grande there.
El Chupacabra!
Yeah.
Is what we're going to do. So El Chupacabra is a legendary creature in Latin American folklore. We can insert something there now.
Wasn't that good?
Believed to be an attack and drink the blood of livestock, particularly goats. The name El Chupacabra translates to goat sucker in Spanish. Yes. Right. Goat sucker.
Yeah, who thought that one up? That's good.
It doesn't sound as menacing as El Chupacabra, does it?
No.
Especially when you put a little bit of flair on El Chupacabra. It sounds quite cool. A bit like Zorro.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. The thing is with Chupacabra is I always get the song Copacabana stuck in my head because it works so well. The Chupacabra. Super-Chupacabra.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's weird.
But if someone said, "Oh, it's the goat sucker," I think you'd pause, laugh, and then run.
Oh, well, that's scary, isn't it? Yeah. It's a good job I'm not a goat.
Now, here's the big thing. While there's no scientific evidence to confirm its existence, I'll just say that again.
Right.
There is no scientific evidence to confirm its existence. The creature is often described as a hairless, dog-like creature with spines or quills along its back.
Okay.
And that's what you thought it was when I mentioned it.
Yeah, because I saw that video. Was it on Paranormal Caught on Camera or something? With the state police that were tracking some kind of doggish like animal down the highway.
It's definitely a dog.
I showed it to you. I did. Yeah.
And I said immediately, "That's a dog."
Yeah, you were not impressed. But it was a chupacabra. I managed to find you a chupacabra.
You can, as the dog is running, you can see its tiny little nuts dangling as it's running, as if to say, like, "I'm a dog, leave me alone." Like, it's clearly a dog. So.
It was pretty much a dog.
Sightings and stories of El Chupacabra have been reported mainly in Puerto Rico, Mexico, and the southwestern United States. So that's pretty much the only places they have been seen. And also, when we were together doing a little bit of extra research, because I really struggled with this one today.
Did, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I was digging deep for like 2 hours. And after the 2 hours, I was like, oh, so it's pretty much the stuff I found in the first 45 minutes then. Like, there's just
the first 4 minutes, probably.
I typed in all kinds of different things. And I've said this before about other subjects, but genuinely, this is the hardest thing I've had to research because there is basically nothing apart from this one folks lore story, basically.
Okay. And you had to translate that from Spanish, did you? Or?
No, it's not even
worth it. It's
a
good job, isn't it? Otherwise, it would have been an even shorter episode.
Now, would you like to know the scientific explanation as to... Or should I say...
You said there was no scientific evidence, didn't you?
No, so there's no scientific evidence, but there is actually a scientific explanation as to what they... Well, they know...
What they think the chupacabra could be.
This is what
dog with spines or quills.
Yeah, this is what they know it is.
Is it a hairless dog that mated with a porcupine created the chupacabra?
Nope. No. It's even easier than that.
Oh, right, okay.
So it is a combination of dogs and coyotes with mange or skin disease that causes hair loss and makes them look unusual.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, well, particularly a coyote, I suppose, because they do sort of have that sort of spiny sort of fur along their back, don't they?
That's the main thing. Yeah, they think it is actually just a coyote with mange.
Mange.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So do you remember that picture? I think what was it when we would study it? Was it Bigfoot or something? But it was a bear without hair.
Yeah.
That sounded quite funny.
Bear without hair.
Yeah, and even the bear without hair looked oddly weird. It's just strange to look at. So it's basically that. It's a coyote with mange. So I'll press on.
Furry animals, when they don't have fur, do look weird.
Yeah. I probably should have saved that for the end to say what it actually is.
Yeah, 13 minutes in. Well done. Bang.
But at the same time...
Drop the mic.
I have got some facts as to what people think about El Chupacabra and the origin and the history of it.
It's the Chupacabra. It's the hardest monster north of Havana.
The legend of El Chupacabra gained popularity in the mid-1990s. So it's a modern...
it's a very modern one then, yeah.
It's not even like an old folklore myth. 90s. With the first major wave of sightings reported in Puerto Rico. Initial reports described, and this is where it lost me straight away because I just thought, how do we go from this to a coyote with mange? So it was first described as a reptilian-type kangaroo creature with large red eyes, but over time the descriptions evolved to be just a dog. So it started off as a
reptilian kangaroo
with red eyes, yeah.
And turned into a dog.
Yeah.
With spines.
Which is actually just a coyote with mange.
Yeah.
So while the legend persists, most scientific explanations point to mange-infected animals or other common creatures such as dogs as the source of the sightings. Now, the thing ramped up in the 90s, okay?
Right.
So the story gained popularity in the 90s, but the actual first report of at this point it wasn't called the chupacabra, it was just a mysterious beast.
The Mexican hell beast, man.
Yes.
Ese. We don't want that around here.
We don't want a hell beast. See, that sounds more menacing than goat sucker.
Yeah.
The Mexican hell beast, you would avoid that.
Yeah, you would.
The goat sucker, not so much.
Yeah, not so much.
So
in fact, if you were a goat, would you want to be found by a goat sucker?
If you're a goat, you're only thinking about eating grass and straw and jumping on things, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose.
But then, depend if you're a frisky goat.
This is where I was leaning towards.
You might.
Being told that there's a goat sucker over there, if you were a goat, you might actually be tempted to go and check it out. And then you'd be shock horrified when it actually sucked your blood and not something else that you were hoping for.
What a mistake to make if you're a goat. If there's any goats listening,
don't be fooled.
Don't be tempted by the goat sucker. So the first actual report of a mysterious creature before it was known as the El Chupacabra, would you like to take a guess at what it was called in Puerto Rico? Obviously the translation, not the actual saying. But before it was Chupacabra, it was known as something else. Bearing in mind, like, goes with goat sucker, the sucker part.
Oh. Well, is it El Perro Cabra? A dog sucker? I don't know.
The vampire of Mocha.
Oh.
Because vampire
of
sucking.
Mocha.
Yeah, the vampire
coffee
of Mocha.
vampire.
I think it's a small town of Mocha.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so...
A vampire that likes chocolate coffee.
Yeah. So in 1975, a series of livestock killings in the small town of Mocha in Puerto Rico. It was known as Vampiro de Mocha, which is the vampire of Mocha. Initially, it was suspected that the killings were committed by a satanic cult. Later, more killings were reported around the island, and many farms reported loss of animal life. Each of the animals was reported to have its body bled dry of blood through a series of 2 small circular incisions, like a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
The first reported attack eventually attributed to the actual chupacabras, which occurred in March 1995. So the mid-90s was when the first chupacabra attack was reported.
But when was the Vampiro del Mocha?
That was 1975.
Oh, okay. So quite a bit of a gap between the two, really.
Yeah.
To be sort of reaching for the same sort of explanation.
Yeah, 20 years apart. But I don't know if they're just saying that as in, like, the chupacabra was first reported in 95 because that's what they called it in 90s.
Right.
They're not saying that this first one was chupacabra, even though it's the same kind of attack.
But I mean, were these like annual attacks? Was it a rolling thing that they was constantly getting these animals attacked all the time, or was it just like it happened in the 70s, then it happened in the 90s?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it happened in the 70s, then it came back in the 90s.
So it's the 20-year serial killer syndrome thing. Then.
Yeah, it wasn't like a constant
was quiet for 20 years until suddenly Chupacabra strikes again. Every 20 years.
I wonder.
Lock up your goats.
I wonder if it's one of those things that, you know, when serial killers get annoyed when someone else takes their work.
Ah, yeah.
And it came back.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'll show you.
Yeah,
I'm back in the
be.
90s.
Yeah, you're not taking my reputation, essay.
So in 1995, 8 sheep were discovered dead in Puerto Rico, each with 2 puncture wounds in the chest area and reportedly completely drained of blood. A few months later, in August, an eyewitness named Madeline Tolentino reported seeing the creature in the Puerto Rican town of Canovanas, where as many as 150 farm animals and pets were reportedly killed. Now, the name of Chupacabra, where does that come from, I hear you ask, Pirate?
Mexico.
Who came up with the name Chupacabra, I hear you say, Pirate?
I don't know. Who came up with the name?
I'm glad you asked. It was actually a Puerto Rican comedian and entrepreneur called Silverio Perez.
So it wasn't Mexico. My first guess was incorrect.
Yeah, he, long story short, he basically made a joke about chupacabras and things, and because he was a comedian, he was just making jokes about them, and it stuck. So
right. But yeah, well, when you call something a goat sucker, I suppose, that's what made it stick, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah. He was just being nasty to the poor little creature.
Yeah, and it just stuck from there and carried on, and that's what we know as Chupacabra. But it all just came from a random comedian making a comment, basically. Kind of like what you were saying about the whole Nickelback thing. It's very similar, isn't it? It's just someone says something and then it just
gets blown out of proportion,
Yeah. Would you like to know all the countries that have had reported incidents, as well as Puerto Rico? With
is
many,
this a game?
Yep, this is many animal deaths in these countries, all with the same symptoms.
Puncture wounds.
Yeah, puncture wounds and drained of blood and lot of livestock all at once.
Right, so we're talking obviously Mexico and Puerto Rico.
Yep, they're the main two.
They're the main two. The USA.
Yes.
Because it encroached into, what did you say, Texas?
Yep.
So, yeah. So that's 3 countries.
Yep.
Ooh, let me see.
Let's see if you can get the next big 3. I won't go through the whole list. But
Panama?
No. Oh, yes. No, Panama is on the list. Yep.
I got to think now. Where's the Central American countries? What are we talking about? Is Colombia? That might be too
Colombia.
far south. Colombia, yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a few, but there's 3 big ones.
Nicaragua?
Yeah, that's on there. Think football.
Uruguay?
No, that is not on the list. No. Think yellow and green. Football champions.
That means nothing to me. I know nothing about football.
You know the football kit of the biggest
yellow and green is Norwich. To me,
world country champions.
Brazil.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking South America now. So how far are we going down South America? Are we talking Peru, Chile, Argentina, Patagonia,
Argentina? You've literally named all of them bar one. You've got one left to go.
Bolivia.
Yes. There you go. That's where all of the animal deaths.
Top points.
Yep, top points for Pirate. So here we go. Even scientists and biologists, including biologist Barry O'Connor, concluded that all of the Chupacabra reports in the United States were simply coyotes infected with a parasite called Sarcoptes scabiei.
Mange.
Hey, we're knowledgeable on this podcast. We like to give people the proper terms.
Fair enough.
Even if it's not said correctly, the guys will know. They'll know. Whose symptoms would explain most of the features of a chupacabra. They would be left with little to no fur, thickened skin, with a rank odour. O'Connor theorised that the attacks on goats occurred because these animals are so greatly weakened and having a hard time hunting, that they would just go into pens and attack livestock because they're not going anywhere. They can't escape.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
and that's the only reason. So they would also attack deer.
Oh, right.
Randomly. Both dogs and coyotes can kill and not consume the prey, which is another reason why the carcasses would be left behind.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of them would kill for fun, just like foxes do.
Yeah, yeah.
And also, if there's a runt of the pack, they would tend to eat that one first and then just for fun try and chase the ones that weren't injured, if that makes sense.
Just wear them out, run them down. Yeah, come on, keep going. I'll get you.
Sometimes the livestock would survive an attack and then die shortly afterwards from internal bleeding or circulatory shock.
Yeah, heart attack.
The presence of 2 holes in the neck correspond with the canine teeth of coyotes and dogs.
Well, who would have thought that?
And vampires.
And vampires, yeah. I could not have guessed that the 2 puncture wounds would have been caused by canine teeth.
Who would have thunk it?
I thought it was going to be a little chupacabra blood-sucking straw.
And it says here, this is to be expected since these are the only way most land carnivores have to catch their prey. It's the only thing they have is their mouth with canines.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, apart from their claws, if you like a bear or something.
And again, I just feel like I'm repeating myself, but there are reports of stray Mexican hairless dogs being mistaken for chupacabras still to this day.
By state police.
Yeah.
Yeah, and filmed and put on TV for everybody to be fooled by.
Yep. We have got 3 other things that are very similar to chupacabras found around the world.
Okay.
Pretty much the same thing. There's one called the Ozark Howler, which I thought was amazing. That sounds so cool.
Yeah.
The Ozark Howler, which is basically a chupacabra, but it's as large as a bear.
Oh, right.
So,
and it lives down by the Ozarks.
It does, yeah. So that's a very similar legend. Basically, everything is the same in the story, but slightly different appearance.
It doesn't have mange.
No, well, that's just another legend of chupacabra.
It's got the claws as well.
Yeah, it's just exactly the same, but in a different... It's a bit like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti. They're all the same thing, but different names kind of thing.
When we were doing just a little research before we started the pod there, and you came across that video where the guy claimed that the chupacabra was created in a lab. Yeah. And one escaped. Yeah. I mean, would you not think that more than one escaped if there's different types of them? Yeah. If there's the Ozark Howler and the Mexican chupacabra, the Puerto Rican chupacabra, maybe more than one did escape.
Well, that's if you go by the belief that the government would waste their time trying to crossbreed to create chupacabras. I mean...
Why wouldn't you do that if you were a government? What?
It just... I don't know. For me, it's a conspiracy theory that I just think is, like, just silly. I don't know. Like, I just didn't want to give the guy any credit. Like, he's on the social media, like, yeah, well, one escaped from a lab and trying to make it all mysterious and stuff. And I just saw it and thought, no, they didn't.
Well, I think it might be a byproduct of, like, how governments wanted to genetically engineer, like, super intelligent pets.
Right.
So that they could, like, if you imagine, like, the president of the United States, just for example, were to give the president of Russia a nice dog, a puppy dog, for just as an act of generosity, goodwill, and say, this is have a nice puppy dog. He's well trained. Take him home. Let him.
I spoke to Putin. He's got my Shih Tzu.
Exactly, and then the dog has secretly been taught how to listen in on Russian conversations and use a Morse code device and exactly. These were theories that were coming out at one time or another that that they could actually use animals to spy on foreign affairs and report it back, and the chupacabra might be a byproduct of those experiments.
I have to actually take back what I just said because I've just remembered weren't they doing tests like the men that stare at goats? They were doing tests and stuff. So I can't say that it's a bit far fetched to think that one did escape from a lab because they were doing stuff like that.
They were.
So
It was genuinely.
I have
a
caught
thing.
myself there thinking about it. It is possible, but I just don't believe it. I don't.
Neither do I. But I just thought I'd put it out there.
I like that theory, to be honest. I mean, anything's possible in this world.
And if they're making super spies out of spaniels and stuff, why wouldn't they make a super soldier as well while they were at it?
I mean, Lassie could talk to humans.
She could bark, and they all knew what she was going on about. Yeah,
Yeah. The littlest hobo.
didn't really do that much.
No, it's basically a hobo. Yeah. We've got the Peshens of Chile. They also share similarities in their supposed habits, but instead of being dog-like, they are described as winged snakes. But this legend, instead of coyotes with mange, this legend may have originated from vampire bats with a disease problem.
Well, it sounds like from obviously South America now. It sounds more like the Quetzalcoatl god, which was like a snake with wings, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's also in the Bible, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
There is some sort of creature with snake with wings.
Possibly.
It might be the Bible. I don't know.
A basilisk. I don't know.
And
probably in like the Revelations at the end, where it talks about the end of the world or something like that. Might be.
I've definitely seen. Oh, it might be Greek mythology.
I've definitely in Greek mythology. I would
definitely
say.
seen something, whether it's like a snake with wings and stuff. And the last one in the Philippines, they call chupacabra sigbin.
In the Philippines.
Yeah.
So the chupacabra swam all the way across the Pacific Ocean.
Well,
chupacabra.
I mean, it says related legends, so possibly swam all the way.
Jumped on board a ship.
I'm just going to click on the
lift.
Oh, I can't click on the link because it's a screenshot. I wanted to see what a sigbin looked like if it was the same as chupacabra. And then if Philippines doesn't blow your mind, in 2018 there were reports of suspected chupacabras in India.
Even further.
Many domestic animals and poultry were killed in a manner similar to other chupacabra attacks, and several people reported that they had seen creatures. Forensic experts have said it's just street dogs that were responsible for the mass killings of domestic animals and poultry after studying many remains of corpses of animals. So again, the rumours came out, there's a creature, it's chupacabra, and it all just comes back to stray dogs.
Mangy stray dogs.
And if there's anyone thinking, but Josh, you've explained it all. There's no way I could believe in chupacabra, but you haven't explained the body being completely drained of blood. Do you know what that is?
This is true. Anemia. Chronic anemia.
No, something simpler than that, my friend. It didn't happen.
Really?
Honestly, scientists have done tests. The biologists, the people that were dealing with these cases of the livestock, every animal that was investigated, the stories have come out being, they're completely drained of blood or anything. They lost a lot of blood, but they weren't completely drained.
Right.
All the bodies of the animals that were inspected, they all had blood left. And scientists are basically just laughing, just like, I don't know where these stories have come from. It's kind of rubbish. Like, they weren't completely drained of blood.
Oh, fair enough.
So, yeah, there's not actually been a single bit of scientific evidence that shows that any animal was completely drained of blood.
Yeah, I guess. If you've died of injuries, you will have lost blood. Some animals don't have a lot of blood anyway, so they lose a little bit and, they can't really function anymore.
Yep.
And these are largely hot countries. And in hot countries, you don't last long once you passed. You can rot away quite quickly, and fluids are usually the first thing to sort of disappear, just leaving sort of crispy jerky-like
Yeah,
meat
I
on
know
the
what you're
bones,
saying.
isn't it? You know, so
I've got 2 more bits of evidence as well, which I haven't even screenshotted. I remembered it because, sometimes I do like to try and remember things.
wow, that was daring,
Yeah, yeah.
but paid off.
The first thing was some people might be saying as well, a lot of the attacks were always towards the throat. I don't know if anyone's ever seen dogs play fighting, but they tend to go for the throat. So that's more evidence that suggests it's dogs. And I'm pretty sure cats go for the back of the neck, don't they? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, some big cats will go for the actual the jaw and try and suffocate.
Yeah.
As well.
That would make sense. Yeah.
But yeah, the dog tend to generally try to just go for the neck and do the neck break. You know, when you see a dog pick up its favourite toy and shake its head,
yeah.
that's a neck breaking move. So
there you
that's
go.
generally what that's all about. Particularly nasty dogs will tend to go for the back legs and try and cripple its prey first.
That makes sense. And do you know the other bit of evidence which brings it full circle? Do you remember we said at the start about that 20-year gap?
Yeah.
During that 20-year gap, there was allegedly, that was where the disease had. You know how we have bird flu and swine flu and things that come in and out and you got to lock your animals away. During or in between basically the whole of the 80s was supposedly when this disease was floating around South America, Mexico and all that. That was the disease that affected mange and the fancy sloppy cockitis or whatever it was that I read out. I can't remember the scientific name. But that was running rampant for many years during that time, which would explain the gap in between the attack when it first kind of started happening in the 70s and then kind of slowing down. A lot of those animals with mange with this disease were dying and things like that, and then in the 90s it carried on.
We don't see so many chupacabras these days because of good vaccination programs.
yeah, that's it. So go get your pet chupacabra vaccinated. And that's pretty much all I've got on chupacabra. I mean, I think I've done a good job of researching absolutely nothing, basically.
You did a good job of chasing the wind, just like a dog.
Yeah, chasing its own tail. I don't know. It's one of those ones where it's a classic myth. It's a classic bit of folklore. We've all kind of heard of
urban
chupacabra.
legend, yeah.
But when I typed in movies or documentaries about chupacabra for something to view to see if there was a different opinion or actual evidence or anything like that, the first thing that came up was Scooby-Doo. So if you're happy to get facts from Scooby-Doo, then good for you. But I understand that Scooby-Doo is not factual. So I can't go by Scooby-Doo. So
anyway, anything from Scooby-Doo, if they had a chupacabra attacking a village on Scooby-Doo, at the end of the show, they always pull its mask off and go, "Oh no, it was the janitor all along.
Yeah.
And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you damn kids."
Can you imagine if they pulled it off and it was just a normal dog?
Or was it a goat?
Yeah, a goat.
I thought I'd trick him.
Yeah, he
wanted all the grass.
Turned on his own kind.
Yeah. Goats don't actually eat grass.
No, they eat straw, don't
They
they?
eat everything except grass. An old boss of mine made that mistake. He bought some goats to cut the grass for him and didn't realise that they'll eat the hedgerow and escape and, absolutely anything apart from grass.
Yeah, eat bushes and things.
He then went out and bought 4 sheep and that did the job.
Yes, yeah. Well, you've just reminded me of something. It's a little side story. My dad was in the military, as you remember. Yeah. He told me that one of the punishments in the army was if one person messed up, they punish everyone.
Yeah, like bee stings sort of thing, yeah.
They would all line up with a pair of scissors and have to cut the colonel's front lawn of his house.
With scissors?
With scissors, yeah. And they'd be out there all day.
Well, yeah, all week probably.
Yeah. But it just reminded me because you said about cutting the grass and stuff.
Do they have to put lines in it as well?
No. They do look
Some
nice,
of them
though.
didn't crawl one way and the others crawled
Yeah.
the other way, so they could flatten the
Oh,
grass
that
as
would
they
be
go.
quality, wouldn't
that's
it?
if I was the station commander, mate. That I'd be getting them doing it.
I don't
You
know if they
five
do it.
start that side. You five start that side. I want lines, straight lines.
Yeah, I don't know if they do it anymore, but I mean, it could be a load of rubbish, but that's what he told me.
I don't know.
But what are you giving Chupacabra on the scale then?
It's not going to be high, is it? It's not. It's not going to be high. I mean,
It's no Nessie.
no. There isn't even like an alternative explanation other than like dogs and other various animals with mange. I mean, when we were looking through, you found someone that had apparently taken photos of a chupacabra, and it was blatantly just a cougar or a mountain lion, wasn't it? It was
There's a mountain lion with its ears back. Yeah,
yeah,
because it was looking in a certain direction. So
yeah. I don't know. It's. I mean, since my state troopers have now been debunked as just a hairless dog, it probably was a dog with mange. That's pretty much what I thought a chupacabra was, anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not going to mark it too low because there probably are stray dogs with mange going around attacking livestock and trying what they can to survive.
I see what you did there. So there is an actual factual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Okay,
and obviously, like foxes, when they get in a hen house, they can go a little kill crazy sometimes and just kill, even though they don't need to kill that many to eat.
Yeah.
It's that bloodlust that takes over. So, that's why we might find evidence of these attacks. So
Yeah.
I'll give it a 4.2.
Okay.
Because I think that there's just enough of that sort of scientific evidence to see where people might have thought that it was a paranormal thing, but I don't think it's paranormal enough to go above 5 and tip the scale,
Yeah. You know what? What's very, very good, I'm really chuffed you did that, because that is a beautiful explanation that I'm not going to add to that. I think you summed that up perfectly. But I like what you did there. So technically, we've debunked the name Chupacabra and what people think it is, but technically you are right. Chupacabra is real, because it is a dog
out there.
coyote with mange. So they are real. They are actual things. So I was going to go super low, but then you saying that, and I also have to factor in the legendariness of the myth.
For the last 30 years, yeah.
Chupacabra's a household name, isn't it? It is technically real, but not at the same time. I'm going to join you at a flat out 4.
Okay, so
I'm gonna
average
give it a
4.1 then, yeah?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's fair for Chupacabra. A part of me wants to rank it lower, but I can't go...
They could be out there. I mean, yes, they are simple, harmless, well, not harmless, but hairless dogs or mountain lions or, whatever. But, they might be suffering from disease, ill. Like you say, their only option is to go after easy penned-in livestock. And that's what they're surviving on out there. Poor Chupacabra.
Instead of scientific evidence, we got pirate evidence.
Yeah.
And that made sense to me.
We got the Chupacabra.
I can't say it because I want to sing the original.
I know.
So I know what you mean. It fits.
The Chupacabra. You have to put the in at the start as well. So you have to repeat the.
El Chupa.
It's the Chupa. El Chupacabra.
That works. I like that. Yeah. That's good.
Oh,
that's a good
Thank you. I'm honoured.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the first time I've used the sound machine.
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah. We can't be using the soundboard all the time, every time. Because people will get bored of it.
We do, we do need to change some of them sounds as well.
We do. It's the same ones.
But anyway, that was Chupacabra, everybody.
Yeah. Please, if I've missed any evidence, please tell me. Please tell me.
Please
send me links, do whatever, write in.
Paranormality.uk@gmail.com. Been a while since I said that.
This one, I'm 99% sure I've covered everything.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single thing I've missed on this. I'm just throwing it out there. If I've missed that 1%, please tell me, because
Okay.
I would like to see it with my own eyes. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just dogs and coyotes with mange.
That's
what I'm
fair.
saying.
That's fair.
Yeah. So write in.
Yeah, write in. If you've got your own chupacabra story, write in. We'd love to hear
Yeah.
from you, particularly if you're from that area of the world, and you've got other myths and facts for us. Not myths, but facts
Yeah.
on chupacabra, because I think Josh has cracked it there, and we've got to the bottom of this mystery.
Yeah.
And until next time, I've been Pirate.
I'm Josh.
This has been Paranormality UK. Ta-ta.
Tata, SA.